aujourd'hui, je m'éloigne de Sean.
Do you realize that today is our 11th video?
It's one of our lucky numbers. Well, mine anyway. I love 11.
And what's interesting, and you already know that, more and more viewers have been asking for us to expand on the concept of relationship, but more on the concept of dating, making that first impression to be going on for more impression to last for a lifetime, maybe.
Communication, the art of that. We've been getting a ton of emails on this.
And some people are discouraged, and I say, please don't until you hear us tell you about the art of seduction.
Exactly, yes. Don't give up. And today, that's the reason that we've decided to kind of tap into a discussion of the art of seduction. And no, okay, it's not what you think. It's not just about being sexy. It's not just about being sexual and sensual. Although when you develop these skills, you're going to feel that way.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how it works. But what we want to show you, whether you are a man or a woman, is how you can become aware of the power that you have and direct the course of events without really putting a whole lot of effort into exerting control or force, but just by tapping into your own self-confidence, self-mastery, and being clear of the outcome in the situation.
Well, you know, Mike, being French, I've been raised with the art of seduction. I didn't even know.
Right.
But the whole focus, being a woman in France, in my days at least, is to be charming. I mean, you start being charming the moment you go to get your baguette and have a conversation with the baker. And it's all the smile and the undertone and the establishing this connection. That personal connection is really the key, Mike.
Well, I hear it when I'm on stage, because one of the things I hear is, wow, you made us feel good about ourselves. And that is a seduction. That's me getting to know what the audience wants and needs, who they really are, and give them what they need from me, and it becomes a back and forth. That is an example of the art of seduction in a non-romantic way, but it's applicable to a lot of situations in that case.
And what it gets us to understand is how to engage the person on the other end.
Engagement, that's really what it is.
And not being afraid. I hear too many women asking me, what do I say when he says? And I go, just listen and go with what you feel you want to say.
Yeah, that's going to be a big topic. Now, recently, actually, you showed me this book that was really cool. Talk about that a little.
Well, it's called L'Art de la Séduction, and it's written by this American woman who journalist, by the way, like you and
right.
She decided to spend a month in Paris and really study the behavior of French women, the behavior of men and women from politics to, like I said, going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Everything is this little kiss on the cheek. That's important. Oh, by the way, kiss on the cheek, I have a story on that.
Oh, boy.
I was so accustomed to kiss on the cheek. Men do it to men, women to men. And it's just about the handshake for us.
Sure, it's just a different form.
But imagine when I came to New York and I would meet a guy and I would say, hey, bonjour, moi, moi. He thought...
You think they're reading a little something into that at that point?
Yes, but I didn't understand what it was. I thought I was being friendly and charming.
You were just being French. It's culture shock. But the book is really interesting because it really does tie in how these strategies that we call seduction have a lot of applications in a lot of areas of life. And there's another one that I think was just written by someone else, maybe Robert Greene.
Robert Greene, and he talks about how in the social landscape you can work out this seduction for focus and power. I mean, it's really having power.
It is. And the bottom line is there are a lot of ways to express this concept and to experience the feeling of seduction that is taking place. There was a guy that I remember running across who he went to a bar to get a drink, right? And he ordered his beer, he sipped it, and he heard a little voice say, "You look really good today." And he looked around, "What's that?" And he had another sip of the beer, and same voice said, "I really love that outfit." The guy was very curious. It's very mysterious. And he said, One more sip, maybe it's in my head, and then he hears, "You look really hot." And he finally says to the bartender, "Wow, what am I hearing? It's making me feel really good." And the bartender goes, "Well, yeah, the nuts are complimentary."
Okay, Mike, on that note,
Hey, they
do
showed an
you
interest.
know how the Egyptian queen seduced the sun god?
How?
She showed him her Nefertiti's. And do you know how to seduce a squirrel?
Um,
You would have to be pretty nuts. So what do we say here, Mike?
Well, humor, laughter, those are definitely tools to use for seduction. First off, because they are a very useful icebreaker. A lot of times a joke is a great way to get things kicked off, especially on the first date. But what is the definition of seduction for you, Advij?
Okay.
For our purpose here, we're talking about meeting a person for the first time.
Yes. Charming. Now,
Charming.
how do you define charming?
Okay.
Is to smile, that helps.
Okay.
And I believe charming is to come across humble and not arrogant, because actually arrogance is a cover-up for lack of self-confidence.
Every time. It's always insecurity.
Right?
Yeah.
Just come open, curious. Well, we'll
That's a
talk
big one. We'll
about
get into
that
that.
later. And wanting to know whatever you can, whatever the person is able to give you
Right.
about that person. And we need to realize that people wear masks. And it's all to protect ourselves from being hurt.
Sure.
And also, we're projecting with the mask whatever we think we want the other person to know about us, which most often is not really the authentic self.
Yeah.
So the role in seduction is making your way in, persuasion by the words you use, by your demeanor, by your kindness,
Right.
but keeping, like we talked about, the focus on wanting the information.
That's what it is. Because once you really get a connection like that,
Yeah.
and that connection's established, the odds are that person is not going to forget you, and they're going to keep pursuing you. Now, the first step on this journey, and it is a journey of persuasion and influence, is showing curiosity. Like we said earlier, ask questions, be daring in that choice of questions. And I learned that in broadcasting pretty early on. That's how you do a good interview. And this is kind of a job interview anyway when you're on something like a first date. The questions need to help the person to create a new connection, really, with their story. And they'll be inspired and they'll be motivated to improve the quality of their lives and see their present life maybe in a different light.
Yes, totally.
And a big part of this is listening.
Ah.
It's listening. It's looking for cues. I mean, first dates, one of the questions that we heard is people say, what does somebody mean when they say, well, I date a lot? Well, if you're just sitting there trying to figure that out in your head, what is that? What does he mean by that? What does she mean by that? You're going to go crazy. Don't just sit there. Ask a question about it. Show an interest in them by doing it, and they're going to respond with interest. And another key point to this.
Okay, what would you say then?
Well, in that case, you would say, it looks to me like you're enjoying dating. Are you enjoying it?
Not
how,
just.
How are you enjoying it? Not, are you dating a lot? It's
right.
closed-ended. That kills conversation right out of the gate. You don't get information.
Making sure the open-ended questions are key.
Avoid yes/no questions.
Yeah.
It just ends the conversation right there. Can't
And
get
whatever
information.
you are uncomfortable with listening to, just go for it and ask what you mean by that.
Well,
and the person would love to give you more explanation, because in doing that,
yes,
you make that person feel so special.
You make them feel special, like they matter. It also shows that you're paying attention. You're paying attention to them and you want to know what their motivations are.
The key is pay attention to them more than talking about you. It has to be you more than I, okay?
Well, absolutely.
And it reminds me that if you don't listen, you get in trouble. I didn't listen to my first husband, who told me how much he loved playing golf with his son. And I thought, I hate golf, but I won't say anything to spoil the connection.
Yeah, you don't want to get, wow, huh? I love that.
And guess what?
What?
That was really the end of my marriage after suffering every weekend he would leave at 6 a.m., return at 6 p.m., and I was a widow on the weekends with the golf. So pay attention. If you don't like golf, well, that's a red flag for not for me, because you won't be happy on this journey.
Well, that's part of it. That's the honesty. And then another part, by the way, and that gets into being superficial.
Yes.
Because I know that that's something that does happen a lot when people get left on their own. Right? And we do tend to get superficial when we do that.
Totally superficial.
Yeah, we show only what we want somebody to see.
Yes. And what's interesting there, we need a lot of patience.
So much.
Because we cannot, if the person speaks slowly, and you notice I speak more slowly than Mike does.
Most people speak more slowly than I do, but yeah.
But I cannot go your speed. It wouldn't work for me, and you couldn't go my speed. You would feel weird.
It's out of the comfort zone.
To tell the person you always speak that fast or that slowly is judgmental. I think I would avoid a question like that. I would tend to kind of match where they are a little more.
You'll find a happy medium,
Yes.
and that will happen as time goes by. But that's a big part of it. That patience is so important, because you can mix patience with curiosity. You can get your questions answered in the time that the other person is comfortable in answering them. Respecting that time is so important, but you can enjoy the process. It's discovery, and discovery is fun. You can get it with a smile on your face, and that is a great tool when it comes to seduction. I like to think of myself kind of like a detective when that happens. I'm collecting information, but I'm doing it in a way that is positive,
Yes.
and in a way that's actually joyful.
You can also think as being on an interview or being the interviewer. What would you want to know about that person for the position you want them to have?
That's a very, very important way to put
Right?
it. And if you're hiring somebody for work, you're not going to settle for less than the best, right? Think of that in terms of
Exactly.
yourself too.
Okay. And the outfit.
Oh, so important.
I think so too. Remember this first impression. Sometimes we're wrong, and okay. First impression. Women, please, out there, even if you have the perfect body, you go to the gym every day. That's not a reason to show every part of your body on the first date. I mean, you can, but it depends what your outcome is. Remember, seduction is the outcome.
Focus on
So
the
if you want a short date, you will get one.
That's true.
But if you want repeated dates, to avoid. So I'm not telling you dress like a nun. That won't work either. But dress to be you. And whatever that means, don't go out and buy new clothes because you have a date. Just go in your closet and feel what will make you feel comfortable. And the time of the day. We're not wearing a cocktail dress when you're invited for lunch, or an early drink at 5 o'clock doesn't qualify for a cocktail.
Yeah, I agree.
And like you had said, women need to have their hair clean. Well, I would suggest even go for a blow dry if you don't know how to do your hair. Not too much makeup, but still a little makeup. Unless you are 18 years old and you get away with nothing, but that's rare today.
Well, the bottom line is dress like who you are, what makes you comfortable, because that's part of that first impression, and it's part of honesty, which is part of our triad here on Heart Chat.
Honesty, hope that this was developed.
Well, that's exactly what it is. You're going to bring those together, and a key thing to remember here is, so you're dressed, you're looking like you're comfortable with you, and remember there's no right or wrong questions on that first date.
No.
But what it does, really, I mean, that's an important part. You're not going to get too deep with anything.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, don't be afraid. You're not going to say something or ask a question that is too deep to answer. It's all information.
And guess what?
What?
If it's too deep, the person will say, "Oh, I'm not ready to answer," and you will say, "I totally understand how you feel."
That's right. Whatever the answer you get is information. Maybe that person's not right. You'll learn through asking questions. And one other thing about the dressing that I just thought of, by the way, I'm a guy. I'm very easily distracted. If you dress in certain ways, I might not focus at all on who you are and what you're saying. I'm just going to be, hey, check that out.
Okay, and
that's kind
guess
of
what
productive.
happened? Women do with that?
What?
The guy was obnoxious.
He's a pig.
The whole time he was staring at my boobs. He never looked in my eyes.
I'd rather have a reason to look in your eyes and talk to you. So present that, be honest, be who you are, we'll make it a real conversation. There's an awful lot to talk about on this topic.
Oh my God. And no flip-flop for men.
Oh, we can do a whole show on flip-flops, and I think we will at some point.
Flip-flop your way out of the meeting. Yeah. Okay, so questions. We get to that. We need to get
Oh, we
to
do.
the questions.
Listen, we talked about questions on a first date, but the power of questions in this discussion,
Yeah.
always a key factor.
Okay. Okay, our last question.
Go ahead.
What is your intention in meeting this prospect, this person?
Yeah,
Right?
there are always different things we might be going into it for, so
What
know what outcome you want.
What is it you want to find out while you are in the presence of that person?
Yeah.
And how are you going to create this special connection?
Yeah.
Being who you are.
Those are really important questions. What's the outcome you want? What do you want to find out about the person? And how are you going to create that connection? I think they're very, very simple questions, and well, the answers are really the honesty, open, healing, and we're going to get more into that.
And I can't wait to get to the poem.
Oh, all right. Well, here we go. So I've got a little poem for us today about seduction.
All right.
So here we go. Seduction. It's far deeper than you might think. It's more than a black dress and come hither wink, or giving that sexy girl some kind of act that in truth has little basis in fact. Clarity, confidence, self-mastery, with a side of real curiosity, leads to real bonding, authenticity. That type of honesty is truly sexy. When you show your date that you care to know who they really are, and then follow that flow. Ask questions that matter. Tell them no lie. Show true interest in that girl or guy, and give them the chance to be open with you. Get beneath their surface and let them in too. Show them your worth and appreciate theirs. Find common ground in your passions and cares. Learn their true heart and show why you're a catch, and you'll soon be seducing a deep, joyful match.
Whew. Okay, this is my take on this poem.
Yes.
Just the poem itself is the ABC for dating. I think it needs to be published.
All right, we'll do something with it.
Yeah, we need to put it out there
I'm
on
glad you liked it.
Facebook because people can really follow the steps. You said it in a very clever way.
Why, thank you,
Okay,
Vinesh.
so now,
All right, now about my favorite part of all this.
yeah, meditation.
Love it.
Okay. And again, why meditate on this, you would ask, is because you plant the seeds in your subconscious mind of this possibility that will be a true joy for you to find that man or woman out there. Okay. So we uncross the legs and we sit with our back straight and we take a deep breath in through the mouth and exhale with a and drop the shoulders. And again, through the nose. Now breathe in and go. Let the shoulders really drop more and more. Last one, in and out. And just have your eyes closed. And again, be in the here and now as you release all the thoughts on your mind. Return to being present, to feel your body sitting on your chair. Noticing the connection you have to the ground, to the earth, planting your feet on the earth firmly, and noticing your head reaching out for the big blue sky, the world of infinite possibilities for your wish, your dream to come true. And as you feel this balance settling in your body from right to left, connect to your breath, connect to your breath. Noticing how the air, cool air come in, tickling your nostrils. And move out, taking away all the stress, all the doubts, any fears. And breathing in this confidence, blended with calmness. And again, any hesitation, any uncomfortableness, let it go. And now, as you feel more clarity coming into your mental space, just choose to project on the screen of your mind, like a 3D screen, a scene of a meeting you're having with the opposite sex, feeling comfortable with who you are, feeling dressed to perfection for who you are, feeling at ease, moving into the space where the other person is, and putting that wonderful smile on your face, a smile, a genuine smile of wanting to connect to the other person's heart and soul, knowing that you will communicate with clarity, simplicity, with focus, and that you will spend time listening and hearing for the cues that will help you say what needs to be said to create this art of seduction. Being aware that the person more and more is relaxing around you, noticing that the person is beginning to open up as you create that energy of trust, this energy of kindness, this energy of non-judgment, just being open to hear anything and be acknowledging of what you're hearing and pursuing the thought, creating the balance between hearing, listening, talking. The flow is in, the flow is out. And you're settling into your space of connection, of intimacy, the space between you and that person to be yours only. And as you feel what you feel and see what you see, leaving that person with a smile on their face, knowing you really came through and you feel good about yourself. You said what you wanted to say, and hopefully the person you have enjoyed hearing what they have to say too. And put a smile on your face. Smile just for you now. Feel a smile of contentment, gratitude for that connection you made, feeling that hope coming your way, possibility, and say victory to me as you return slowly back to the chair with your eyes getting ready to open. They like it? I think Mike liked it. So, on that note, we say...
Sorry, I'm trying to come back to myself here. Okay, victory to you. Victory
is yours. Claim it. And don't forget to give us some...
give us some feedback on this.
Please,
share these.
We really need to have that to continue pleasing you more and more.
There you go.
Merci, à bientôt, au revoir.